Welcome everyone to the next edition of Osisko's 6-Minute CEO. Today we're discussing the recently released results from the Golden Bear, a new discovery that Osisko made back in June. We put out new results just a day or so ago as a follow-up to that initial hole. We had a very good result of about 28 grams per ton over almost 7 meters with that initial discovery hole, very much like when we discovered the Lynx deposit, which is now the central focus of the Windfall deposit, which we are drilling towards the final resource and feasibility study early next year. The simplest way to think about Golden Bear, the way I like to think about it today, is if this was Windfall, this might be Golden Bear. It's located about 1 kilometer to the north of the main deposit. It's the first time really in 5 years that we've had very serious exploration success doing reconnaissance drilling around Windfall. We've had to focus, because Windfall became so big, we've had to focus almost all of the drilling we've done in the last 5 years to do the resource delineation. We're coming to the end of that in about the next 4 to 6 weeks. And as we coast to the end and finish the infill drilling for the final resource that will lead to the feasibility study, we've been releasing drills to Golden Bear. We started with one. The results have been turning out very well. If you go to the press release released on Tuesday, September the 14th, you'll see some of the numbers. But we're currently up to 3 drills. We'll keep adding rigs through the fall. We've announced a 50,000 meter program, and we're going to start getting busy on that deposit. And in the next 3 diagrams, I'm going to show you why. In this first figure, we show in the center of the diagram, this is an airborne magnetics map. You can see the Windfall deposit in red. This is our current 6.1 million ounce resource averaging about 8.5 grams. Again, we expect that with the completion of the current drill program at Windfall to come up to about 7 million ounces, and we expect the grade to come up to about 10 grams per ton in the measured and indicated in preparation for the fees. But that little star located just to the north of it, it's about 1 kilometer away, is where we discovered Golden Bear. It's on a cross feature. We believe it's a splay off the same fault that was responsible for the emplacement of Windfall. We'd previously done a little drilling up there, had some anomalous results which we were following up on when we discovered Golden Bear. It is a blind discovery. There was no surface indication of it. There were no surface anomalies or any outcrops that showed gold before this. But really what we think we have here is another Windfall type deposit. The results that we released earlier this week, we have about 15 new intercepts in the deposit. And a lot of them have the very similar grade and very similar alteration, very similar geology to the Windfall deposit. We're talking 67 grams per ton over a couple of meters, 62 grams over 2 meters, 38, almost 39 grams over 2 meters. These are typically the types of grades that we see in the Lynx zone. If we move on to slide number 2, from that initial discovery at Golden Bear, shown on the left in the black box and where that yellow star is in what we call D1 now, in the course of following that up, we found 2 other parallel zones that now comprise 3 in total for Golden Bear. We won't be surprised if we find a lot more. This happened frequently as we were drilling off Windfall. When we found Lynx, it was initially Lynx 1, and I think eventually we got up to about Lynx 8. What's interesting is that in that first zone, we have about 170 meters of strike length defined so far with just a couple of holes. D3 was one of the more recent discoveries from that series of drilling. We have 1 hole in it with a result that we released, but there's a second hole at the lab now that was the result of about a 250 meter step out. We don't have the numbers yet, but we suspect it will carry gold. That would make that zone about 250 meters long. You can see the blue lines on that map showing the 2, 4, 6, 800 meter step outs. Again, this is what we did when we discovered Lynx. We started taking the long bombs early on. So right now we're in the process of drilling out those 400 and 600 meter step outs to see if we can get some significant size to this. The trick here is once we see how long it is, that's when we start to really add the drills, because you can't put 15 drills on a new discovery until you really understand where the gold is and how it occurs. But if we are successful on those step outs, that will certainly accelerate the number of drills that we move over to Golden Bear, because then it essentially just becomes a game of battleship where you're doing infill drilling. Moving on to that slide number 3, you can see the zones in yellow, orange, and red. Those are D1, 2, and 3. This is a composite section, so really we're looking across a width of about 700 meters of thickness. What's nice about this is that we have the 3 zones. They're all trending the same direction. They have the same general trend, again, in terms of the strike and the plunge that we see at Windfall. And all 3 of them are displaying those ounce to multiple ounce grades as we see in the Windfall deposit. It's certainly a good indication for us in these early holes to see such strong grades in the same type of geology. It gives us great hope that this will turn into a very significant system. The drilling at Golden Bear has only just begun. We've had about 15 holes into it, as I mentioned earlier. But with this 50,000 meter program, you can guarantee we'll have a lot of holes in it, and ideally we'll start to stretch this thing out and start doing some infill drilling. You won't see a resource on this anytime soon, but certainly it will add to the attractiveness of the Windfall deposit in terms of its proximity to the deposit that's starting to undergo the feasibility studies, and that we hope will eventually be our main mine. It's close enough that it would be additional ore that would be trucked over to Windfall in a mining scenario. But really what we like about Golden Bear is that it proves what we've been saying all along for the last number of years. The whole Urban-Berry belt is very prospective. We believe that there are multiple deposits all around the belt. We've really only scratched the surface of what we've done at Windfall. Again, currently 6.1 million ounces going on 7. Golden Bear shaping up to either be a very good satellite or a completely parallel deposit. But we feel that there are many more of these types of deposits to be found in the area. And once we complete the infill drilling on Windfall, we're going to start investigating some of those other parallel fault structures to the north and to the east and to the west of the Golden Bear deposit. Certainly the work leading towards Windfall becoming a mine is one of our major preoccupations. But a good mining company, a good exploration company never turn drills off. We'll continue drilling with the cash that we have on hands to get through that 50,000 meter program and see where we can take Golden Bear by next year. Sum it all up, we're hoping for a big year from Golden Bear. We're excited by the results that we're seeing so far. Stay tuned for more results as we go through the fall and into next year from that continued and increased drilling on Golden Bear. Again, what we think we're onto right now is 1 + 1 might end up making us 2. Thank you very much.